If you're looking for a melt-in-your-mouth, rich dish to share with other people, I think this dish is for you. Slow-cooked lamb, juicy, tender, packed full of spices, paired with some nice, soft and fluffy flatbreads, with loads of nice toppings like pickled onions, mint yogurt. There is a lot to love about this dish. I think you guys will really enjoy it. Stick around and I hope you guys like the video. In the meantime, let's do some cooking. For the marinade, we will need our lamb, a big bunch of thyme, sumac, smoked paprika, garlic, olive oil, salt, and beef stock. Add all of the marinade ingredients, not the stock of course, into a pestle and mortar and give it a good crush and mix around. For me, this is the best type of marinade for a meat like this. You get a lovely, rich, earthy flavour from the cumin, garlic and thyme, like tang from the sumac and a little touch of smokiness from the paprika. It is insane. Once the marinade is all mashed up together, it should end up looking like this. Give it a sniff, and if it smells good, you know it's gonna taste amazing. As you can see here, you've got all of the connective tissue and fat running throughout the meat. This is what will make it extra juicy later on once we've cooked it. I also find that lamb shoulder tends to be that bit more flavorful than any other cut of lamb, but that's my personal opinion. We then want to tip that wonderfully fragrant marinade out onto the lamb. Oh, that just smells so good. Give that a smell, Jack. Pat it in to make sure all of the marinade sticks to the lamb. You don't want to waste any of this. Now you've got the marinade all over the lamb, we want to marinate this overnight or at least 4 or 5 hours. The longer you leave it to marinate, the better the flavor will be. People tend to skip this step, but honestly, it really does make a difference. Once you've seared both sides, we then want to add in the stock. Make sure you're using good quality stock here. This is what the lamb will be sitting in for 4 hours, so no doubt will soak up a load of that flavour. This is so easy to skip over, but it's very important in my opinion. Also, we will be reducing this to make a delicious, rich sauce later on. Now you've seared the lamb and tipped in the stock, we want to braise this for 4 hours. After 2 hours, take the lamb out, give it a little baste with the juices. So this means you're going to be tipping over the juices in the pan onto the lamb. That helps keep it tender and juicy and stops it from drying out. After 4 hours, check it. Stick a fork into the top of the lamb and twist it. If it twists nicely and it pulls apart really easily, you know it's done. If it doesn't, whack it back in for another half an hour and give it another go then. After the 4 hours, we're then going to remove the lid, put it back in the oven, crank up the heat and get a nice browning on top. Now time to prep the other ingredients whilst we wait for the lamb to cook. For me, this recipe is based off a hybrid between an Indian naan and a Turkish flatbread. Really soft and fluffy, a little bit of charring, some dimples in it to get some nice bubbles. Honestly, this goes so well with the lamb, you guys will really like it. To make the flatbreads, start by mixing together the warm water, yeast, sugar, oil, and yogurt in a bowl. Give it a good whisk to make sure all of the yeast is incorporated and then leave to sit for about 10 minutes to let the yeast bloom. In a new mixing bowl, we want to tip in the flour and the salt. I don't like to mix the salt in with the yeast mixture as this can actually kill the yeast. Then we'll start mixing and gradually stream in the yeast mixture. Drop in the butter a little bit at a time until it is all incorporated. Make sure you don't do it all at once though, as the dough will struggle to incorporate it properly. Once you reach a nice smooth elastic feel of the dough after kneading, place it into a lightly greased bowl, cover, and then leave to rise for 1 to 2 hours. Here we have the risen dough. 2 hours later, it's doubled in size, so we're now gonna knock the air out, roll it into some nice flatbreads, and then cook it. This has to be one of the most satisfying parts of making dough. Also, you know, a perfect release of any pent-up anger you may have. And split it into 8 equal portions. On a lightly floured work surface, roll each ball out into flatbreads roughly 1/4 inch thick. Place into a dry pan over a medium-high heat. Make some dimples in the flatbread with your fingers and then cook for a few minutes on each side. Now the flatbreads are wrapped up in the damp cloth, they'll stay nice and warm and won't dry out and can then sit around until you're ready to serve. Time to make the mint yogurt. A fresh, zesty and slightly sour yogurt pairs perfectly with the richness of the lamb and its sauce. Add the mint into your bowl alongside the lemon juice, lemon zest, season with salt and then add in the yogurt. Give it a good mix and voila, it is simple as that. Then we get a pomegranate and we're going to bash the seeds out. Each little seed here is like a little explosive ball of goodness. Slightly sweet, slightly sour, but gives a load of flavour and colour to the dish as well. Chop up some parsley to use as a garnish and to mix with the lamb. And then it's time to take the lamb out and pull apart. Place the lamb onto a cutting board and leave to rest for about 10 minutes whilst you strain the braising liquid into another pan. Place this onto a high heat and reduce until you get a nice thick sauce. This is a flavor bomb. This really helps bring the whole dish together, packed with all of the spices, the stock, and all of the beautiful lamb juices. Now the lamb's rested, remove the bones. These should slip out like butter. Now shred it apart with tongs, forks, or even your hands. Just look how juicy and tender this lamb is. I think it's now only right to build the flatbreads. Add a portion of lamb into a new bowl, sprinkle with some parsley and a splash of the reduced liquid. Place it on top of one of the freshly baked flatbreads, top with some pickled red onions, pour over some of the fresh mint yogurt, a generous handful of the pomegranate seeds, and a final sprinkle of parsley. Just look at that beauty. That's how you make a piece of lamb taste absolutely incredible. And there we have it, lamb flatbreads. That was my take on how to make a delicious, melt in your mouth dish, perfect for sharing with lots of other people. I challenge you to make this and give it a go, and honestly, I think you will absolutely agree with me that this is one of the tastiest dishes. Be sure to share it on social media and I'll make sure to check it out. If you have any recommendations or anything you want me to make next video, drop it down in the comments below and I'll check it out. A little like on this video would really help me. Until next time, let's do some cooking.